Perfect, full.
Guys, where are we?
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. We're about 50 minutes north of Albury. What happened yesterday, Alan?
Everything.
Everything.
Before we left for Queensland, we knew this was a smoky old girl, so we threw a catch can. I whipped up a catch can and threw it on, and everything seemed to be a bit better. It was catching all the oil instead of throwing it into the intake and covering the engine with the oil. So it was going real good, and just before we left, Dad insisted on me putting an air cleaner in the car. So I went, okay, I'll put the air cleaner out on. So that meant I had to throw the breather tube out onto the end of the transmission, just dump it out onto the transmission. So on the way up here, it wasn't too bad. It was smoky, but it wasn't too bad. And it seemed to be 2 days ago on the way back from the Pontiac Nationals, it just started smoking real bad. I went, oh, this is not good. This is after I've lost my brakes. I went, oh, this is not good. I went, oh, this is horrible. And we pulled over and I went, oh, I'll check around. And then we went, yeah, engine's kaput. So I was on my way to Coffs Harbour, Bursons, when the police pulled me over because I was smoke screening the whole of New South Wales here. And they gave me a warning saying you have to fix this real quick, which is understandable. I didn't tell them the complete truth, but I went, yeah, I'm trying to fix it. It's about an hour down the road, I'll get there and I'll fix it. We got to Bursons and Coffs Harbour and proceeded to drain the oil, fill it up with new oil, and dump a litre of Morris into it to try and lower the smoke. Didn't do much, but it helped. So, and then we went to get new brake pads, which were wrong. I couldn't get brake pads. Turns out can't get brake pads for these very easily. We went to another Bursons, grabbed another bottle of Morris just in case. So, and then next pit stop, we dumped the rest of the Morris in. So there's 2 litres of Morris in this sump, which is going to be great when I'm pulling the engine apart. And it seemed to quieten the engine down as well as stop the smoke. So
now it's day 2. We weren't able to get a trailer. It's day 2, it's driving better. But what did you do on the way down? Who did you pull out in front of with the smoke coming out the back?
It's the next day and everything's going relatively okay, except for I can't really see much signage on cars, and proceeded to pull out in front of a police officer and smoke screen the police officer while overtaking a truck. Luckily I didn't get pulled over, they just drove by me, so it wasn't too bad, but it probably wasn't the best decision.
So what did we decide to do at the next stop? How did you fix it? Oh, plus you also lost a cylinder.
So we found out at the next stop that we lost a cylinder, which isn't so great. We're running on like 3.5 cylinders, which is amazing. It's perfect for a little 4-cylinder. And we dumped the breather hose, pulled the air cleaner out, dumped the breather hose back up into the air cleaner, and seemed to stop breathing. So yay, well, engine's still not good, but yay.
It's still breathing, but it's now it's eating itself. It's eating its breathing.
So with a little bit of luck, we'll be home today, yeah?
Hopefully.
So a bit of an adventure for your first long road trip?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you've learned how to drive.
Easy. They're not easy. Road trips are not easy, especially when you have issues. So.
Well, we've always made it home, so thank you for everybody who's offered to help, but hopefully we'll be back soon. We've just come back from the Pontiac Nationals all the way up in Queensland. Now your Pontiac didn't make it, but you decided to take this Galant, your Galant, baby VJ up there. Tell us a little bit about how you prepared the baby VJ to make it up there. What were your issues?
Well, a couple days before we left, probably a week before we left, I lost an oil cap, which was probably a telltale sign to not go to the Pontiac Nats in my own car.
Why did you lose the oil cap?
Because these poor little engines breathe a lot.
So how did you fix not losing the next oil cap?
I made a rudimentary aluminium little bracket that holds the oil cap down.
So This you've seen done on a lot of rally cars with these motors on it, because these motors are known to breathe, aren't they?
Yeah, I've seen them on the 1.6 versions, yes. Not
Yeah.
the 2. It's 2 or 2.6. So.
Because they breathe a lot and they spit the oil cap off. So this motor was also breathing. One of the other things you did was you made a catch can, didn't you? What did you use?
Yeah, I bought a cheapy little keg for like $26 and spent probably $200 worth of fittings and hose. So just to make a little catch can.
Yeah. So the car was already blowing a bit of smoke when we went up to Queensland, and then you decided to race it on the track, which was fine. But it was also sitting for a long period of time at high RPMs at 100 kilometres per hour. How high an RPM do you think it was sitting at?
$3,500, $4,000.
So $3,500 to $4,000 at constant revs all the way up. What happened to the motor? How much did it breathe by the time we got to Queensland?
Oh, it wasn't too horrible at Queensland, but it was breathing.
So it was breathing.
It was breathing more than it used to.
Okay. So a lot of you would have watched our shorts on the trip back from Queensland, and you would have seen that we answered the age-old question of, does a 57 Pontiac diff fit in a Galant?
Yes.
Yes.
There's no interior in it.
When there's no interior in it other than maybe the driver's seat.
Yes.
So we shoehorned that. We did a 5-hour detour, and it was at the Queensland border that you noticed something was wrong. What was wrong?
I was coming back. I got past the Queensland border, and I went, "Oh, there's something wrong. Everyone seems to be passing me, even though I'm doing the speed limit. Oh, there's something wrong." I look behind me. I go, "Oh, that's wrong. It's breathing like all hell."
So this was a little bit like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
There was a lot of smoke coming out the back. There was actually that much smoke coming out the back that on the way into Coffs Harbour, what happened?
I got pulled over by the cops because they probably thought I was on fire.
Where were we headed?
We were heading to, I don't know where we were heading. Where were we heading, Mel?
Coffs Harbour, Bursons.
Coffs Harbour, Bursons, there you go.
And what did you do in their car park?
I did an oil change and filled it with a bottle of Morris.
Yeah, so 1 litre of Morris went in there. And then we were also looking for some brake pads, because on the track you'd pretty much worn through your brake pads.
Yes.
Get me the brake pads on the bench, please, Dad. Dad will be our sale.
Yeah, I wore through one of the brake pads, front right hand, and it was metal, so it wasn't too great. So all the way on the way back, I was, after trying to get brake pads at 3 different shops.
So we did Bursons, Coffs Harbour, Bursons Taree, and Repco Taree, yes? So, yes, that's not much left. No, that's pretty bad. So, and these brake pads didn't prove to be easy to get, were they?
No, apparently you can get GAGB brake pads, which are a little bit narrower and a little bit taller, but you can't get GCGD.
What about the first brake pads that came?
Oh yeah, and this car's apparently registered as a PJ Valiant.
You know what that means though, don't you?
I can put a 360 in it.
Yep.
I don't think so. I think maybe it says 1974 Chrysler Valiant and Galant. There's not enough room to put Galant. So, made it past Taree, spent another night, tried to organise a trailer.
Yes.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very big shout out to Ron Goodman for letting us check out his museum that's under construction. But what did we find out? That the brake pads of a Galant are very similar to
Porsche brake pads.
Yeah, they're very tiny.
Barely Porsche brake pads.
Well,
Yeah.
a Porsche only weighs 500 kilos.
Yeah.
So the early ones, that is.
Yeah. So it was decided that we were going to push on for home.
Yes.
So last day was an epic day from Goulburn all the way down to Dandenong.
Yep.
How do you think you went? How was it?
Pretty stressed out.
You were pretty stressed out?
Yeah.
So we had to stop how many times on the way to...
From
From
Goulburn
Goulburn.
to Dandenong 3 or 4 times.
Yeah. And what else did we do? We added an extra litre
And
of...
an extra bottle of Morris.
So this poor motor had 2 litres of Morris in it. We lost half a cylinder. Which cylinder did we lose?
We lost half of number 1. I think I've lost completely number 1 now.
Yeah.
So,
And then it just started breathing more smoke. So what did you do to fix that?
dumped the breather hose into the air cleaner so it wouldn't smoke it down the back of the car and alert the cops.
Yes. So, but that also caused the motor to breathe even more. And Shane explained on the side of the road already previously what he actually thinks is wrong with this motor. So what are we doing today?
Pulling it out.
We're pulling the motor out. How long's this motor been in, Alan?
About 4 weeks.
4 weeks. In your defence, it was pretty bad when you put it in.
Yeah.
Yes, so...
It was a lucky dip engine. We paid $700 for it, thinking it was a good engine because it had compression when you turn it over by hand.
Yeah, you two did check everything you could possibly check with the motor out, but...
Without it running.
Without it running. And it did run after lots and lots of work, but it's coming out. And what are we going to... Well, we'll find what we find. Bets on. What do you think we're going to find, Dad?
I reckon we're going to have... Because the engine oil started to dilute so much, we're going to find some bearing wear. That's 100% because you can hear it. You can hear a little bit of a knock in the engine. Also, too, 100% we're going to see glazed bores again because I actually diagnosed on the trip that it's an oil control ring issue.
Yeah.
The oil control ring wasn't allowing oil to go past the ring and feed the compression rings.
Yeah.
Hence the reason why the bores were glazed in the first place.
And what do you think we're going to find, Alan?
Broken rings.
Broken rings?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Maybe some broken rings and maybe some damaged piston, especially.
Damaged piston, damaged bearings, damaged gudgeon pin, damaged everything.
So I think it's time for less yak yak and more tap tap, and time for you to start pulling this motor out. Yeah?
Yay.
Again.
All right.
So what have we got here, Big Al? What did you find?
Every single top ring's broken again. This happened. The side of the piston's been broken. So
Quick release rings.
quick release rings.
Quick release rings. So this is what you found when you pulled the motor down. Is it just one piston?
No, it's all the pistons.
All of the pistons. So
But two of them are burnt like that from the combustion process.
do you want to bring the piston closer to the camera so we can show the people?
Yeah. No, to the camera.
All the way down.
To the camera.
Yeah, it's
That's
burnt
Dad.
all the way through.
It's
Yeah.
gone all the way down into the oil ring.
Up
Yeah.
a little bit.
So yeah, it's gone all
that's
the
it.
way down into the oil ring. So it's broken the ring, burnt in, and burnt the second one, broken the second ring, and then burnt in and gone down to the oil ring, and that's what's provided my blow-by.
And is that the worst one?
Yeah, this is number 1 as usual. My 1.3 was probably the same. Well, it was the same, broken like that as well. So.
Yeah.
And I wanted to add boost.
Your dad wanted to add boost. Imagine how fucked my engine. Oh no.
Yeah, you can say that.
Imagine how fucked my engine would have been then.
Hey, at least it would have done the job a bit quicker.
Well, I think I've got the solution for you, Alan.
There's
Sticky
a little
tape.
bit of duct tape. I don't reckon that's going to work.
Any rate,
Need a little bit better than that. Maybe duct tape.
It has damaged the bores a little bit, but we're going to get
the balls.
Yeah, gouge the bores. But we'll get Charlie to first have a look at it, do a
Sonic test.
sonic test and a hardness test. Whether we can just bore it out and go a bigger piston, or whether he suggests that we sleeve it and go through that route.
there's some pretty big holes or gouges in those bores now.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's pretty far gone now. I don't reckon you're going to be able to
there was some ugly marks that I did see there, and I just thought I'll just pretend they're not there, and I'll just run the hone up and down and just go like this.
This was when you had the head off a few weeks ago. Yes.
I did see it, but it's bigger now.
So disappointing.
Yes.
How
well,
dare you just do that?
Well, you wanted to drive it, and you were so disappointed, and I just wanted to see a smile on your face when you're driving your car.
Look how disappointed I am now.
Well, either way, we would have ended up here in this situation.
Could have just told me.
So let's ask Dad the technical question. What do you think? Now, you've seen this happen before.
Yeah.
What has actually happened? Is all of the damage Alan's fault?
No. I did suspect when we first started the engine, there was a lot of breathing going on in that top hose. So I thought, well, Alan had to pull the head off anyway. So while we pull the head off, we'll just get the head decked and get the head checked out to make sure there's no issues with the head. And I thought, well, after doing that, I know for a fact that if we put some hone marks in there, it'll get a bit of lubrication up to the top end of the bore and it'll seal better. Well, when we put it back together and he first started driving it, well, it did. It worked. It sealed
For about probably 8 hours worth of driving, and then it cracked itself again.
Well, it helped. It helped.
Out in the middle of Chapel Street like usual.
There used to be a thing that my dad used to do. My dad used to use Ajax. Sounds terrible, but he used to mix Ajax with petrol on old smoky engines like this, and he'd pour it down the intake at about 3/4 throttle, or about a third throttle really, and just pour it in, and the Ajax would like scour the inside of the bore, and funnily enough, sometimes it would stop engines from making smoke. In this case, with what we did, it was the head pull off version, so we just run a set of fingers down there and honed it, trying our best to stop it from breathing, and it seemed to work for a little bit.
Was that because I didn't have any jiffy?
No, the Ajax thing works, but it's not really great. So I just thought this would work, and it did for a little bit because it allowed the engine oil to come up and seal the ring better. You know.
Now, you don't think that front cylinder was all Alan's fault? You think perhaps they'd already butted?
The reason why we knew it was breathing a lot, and I thought, well, let's just do a leak down test on it. So we did a leak down test on it, but funnily enough, with the rings, is this one here, cylinder number 4, it came up really bad. It
came up 10 psi below average.
Yeah,
It wasn't too horrible.
no, this was a lot down compared to the others.
These were all 150.
Yeah.
This one was 140.
Yeah, that was in the compression test.
Yeah.
But then we did another compression test and it came up good.
150 in all. So.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was there for that one.
So, and I went, I don't really trust that. Let's do a leak down test. So we did the leak down test, and because I knew something funny was going on, they were consistent at 150 psi. But the thing is, with broken rings, is sometimes you can get that, but that result. But then once we did the leak down test, it showed that there's something wasn't exactly right with this engine. Because the leak down test, even though I was setting it, wasn't coming up great, but we knew it was breathing every cylinder, but we didn't know how bad it was breathing. But when we pulled the oil cap off, stuck our ear over the top, it was breathing hard.
So for all the other young fellas out there that might be watching this and want to learn a thing or two,
Don't buy one of these engines.
What's happened is Alan, when we've done the compression test, we've been compression testing it on the second ring, right? The top ring's always been broken. Now, the reason why I know that is because I did see a mark in the top of that bore. But looking at the pistons and the top of the pistons, it all looked pretty consistent, and I wasn't really 100% sure.
So
But
you're saying every top ring was broken?
every top ring was broken. The problem is, when you're sitting at a constant speed, it accelerates that burn past the ring, and that's why if pick out cylinder number 4 and just show the camera cylinder number 4, piston number 4, sorry, show piston number 4 and how badly that one and how clean it is in there.
Yeah. So it's really, really clean in here.
Yeah.
And there's the butted rings.
Yeah.
So what it does is it just burns that section out, and the only reason why the rings sort of overlap each other is because they're already broken, and because the rings move around, they've just sort of, as the ring gap gets essentially fire burning through it at immense temperature, it burns the piston away, and the rings are allowed to overlap. It also burns the rings as well, even though they're high carbon. But it's not Alan's fault. When we bought this engine, it felt okay, but it wasn't okay.
Alan, racing it, did that help?
No.
Would you like a minute to think about that?
No. No. It definitely accelerated the damage.
What are you
probably
talking about? Racing never breaks engines.
and when he was going home, there was one truck that he overtook on the freeway, and I said to Emmy, I said, Alan's car's just disappeared. There was that much blow-by coming out of the tube that you couldn't see his car anymore.
Well, that might be why that lovely police officer in New South Wales thought his car was on fire.
Look, it's funny, but it's sad, because obviously Alan just wants the car to be running, and he doesn't want to be disappointed by.
This is the second engine.
Yeah,
so happy.
and Alan's a young fella that he's an apprentice, he doesn't earn much money. The bank of mum and dad is getting frustrated, but that's okay.
Well, look, the problem is when engines are old,
yeah,
and you start to push them further than they've ever been pushed before, what happens is the rods and pistons stretch out really long, and then the piston ring hits the lip that was in the top of the bore. And when it hits the lip, it just smashes the rings.
yeah,
And then it creates a chain reaction.
and we were young at one stage too, and didn't have much money, and we did a whole heap of
I was doing a
minimal cost engine rebuilds in the backyard.
Yeah. I was building a race engine every 2 weeks, and I had a row of 265 Hemis, and I would just pull them apart and build the next one, and I was breaking cranks, I was twisting rods, I was putting rods out the side of the block. That's what happens. But you know what? There's no one to blame but me. I broke it. That's it.
And just for clarification for your wife here, is you constantly blowing up your motors the reason the only dessert you could afford to buy your missus at that point in time was a 30-cent ice cream from McDonald's?
Yeah. That's right.
You had your priorities straight?
Charlie Saliba used to charge, I've still got the receipts, $179 for a full engine machine job. I said to him, can we get those prices again? Charlie said, no.
Did you get a bulk discount?
No, but he was getting sick of seeing me, I tell you. He was getting sick of, he actually said to me, it's time to go to a V8 show. And you know what? Eventually I listened to him and I went to a V8, and guess what?
You still blew them up.
I still blew them up, but they lasted longer. Yeah.
So I think it's just your turn as a young fella to try and lesson learnt. You can't really take cheap shortcuts. They're going to bite you in the butt in the end.
Well, you can, but
They won't last.
But now we can go boost.
No boost, Dad.
High compression.
Benjamin,
Methanol.
High
rotary,
compression.
right?
It
Should be
sorry.
rotary. Rotary? Yeah, rotary.
We can go high compression and boost
No.
because we can run E85.
No.
Sorry. Anyway, so this motor will be heading down to Charlie's, and then it'll be the long wait to get the machining done.
But you know what? I did get the chance to drive it when the engine was brand new.
No.
Well, not brand new.
Brand new.
Well,
After you
Well, it was-
honed it.
it was okay, and we put it in there. And I tell you what, it does go very, very well. It's a staunch little engine for a car that size. Really, really good engine package.
So it's worth saving it.
So all you guys with your Galants hiding out there and your little Lancers,
Don't build a 2.6, put a 318 in it.
well, that too. Well, because technically, Alan, didn't they say that car's a VJ Valiant?
Yeah, it's registered as a VJ.
So technically, if Vic Roads are saying it's a VJ Valiant,
Yeah, well, what are we to argue?
Hey, Alan.
I reckon
this-
we could fit a 360 in there, no problem.
And I happen to know where there's a stroked 410 in the front office with a mad black paint job and a sniper on top of it that your dad's not using.
Well, that's my motor. Yeah, but
no use in it.
Lee's engine now's been sitting there for what, 10 years, built, ready to go.
Oh, I don't know.
He's all the way over in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, but
He's
it's
never
covered in
coming
glitter.
home. I reckon we stick that engine in there and we just run the cam in like this.
360s.
On that note, we'll keep you updated.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I reckon it's going to be an awesome engine. By the time it's finished and rebuilt, we're going to do a counterbalance weight delete, aren't we, Big Al?
Yes.
So we're going to do that. So that's going to make the engine better straight away. So I reckon it's an up and up. I reckon we don't look at this as a bad thing. What's happened? It's just happened. All we can do is look at, say, improving. Like that's a pretty good forged looking rod, but I reckon we could go probably a better rod, a better piston. You know. So yeah, something lighter. Maybe that fits. Something lighter. We want to lighten the rotating assembly so we can get some RPM out of it. Possibly, maybe see if we can do something with the head. Even though the head's a very good design.
All within an apprentice's budget.
All within Dad's budget.
Well, it's got quite a large big end journal, and I reckon we could grind the backside of that out a little bit, reduce the size a little bit, and
Shut up, Dad.
offset grind.
Dad's getting carried away.
Maybe get it to around 2.8.
The bank of mum says no.
And there's a lot of thickness between the balls. Just go ring. We can't leave things standard. Standard is terrible. Look at it. It'll break again. It's got to be better.
We're going to build it standard again, and I'm going to break it again within 4 weeks.
No! We're going to put lightweight metric rings, lightweight pistons and rods, offset grind it.
And a brick under the accelerator. Okay.
And we're going to put a crank girdle and a turbo that big.
No. To be updated.
He can pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll pay for it. You can pay me back.
No.
All right, to be updated, boys. Clean up this mess, Alan. Less yak yak, more tap tap. Come on. If you like this video, don't forget to click like and leave a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and click the notification bell. If you like the t-shirts that you see the crew wearing, there's a link in the description below where you can grab some for yourself. Thanks for watching.